This time on Rad Video, we're talking about the military and if YouTube is going to fuel the next big wave of skateboarders. Let's get started. Welcome back to Rad Video, the channel where you can learn something new about skateboarding 3 times a week. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday we take a look at something in the skateboarding world, from tricks to your favorite pros, to video games, to answering your questions on this series, Ask Rad. If you have a question for me in the future, go to radratvideo.com and you can submit a question through there. You can also pick up this very handsome t-shirt I'm wearing right now. But let's get into it. First one is from Matt Doty from the UK, who asks, "Hey Rad, please will you chat about your thoughts on the Army/Navy attaching itself to skate contests to promote war? Because I personally find it disgraceful. I'm a dad with 3 young children, and especially since having children, I find war completely unacceptable in all its forms. I'm surprised that pro skaters have accepted the promoting of war in our beloved sport and no one seems to speak out against it." So you're right, I haven't heard anyone speak out against it, but I don't think that competing in a contest that's sponsored by the Army is necessarily accepting it. You don't really get a say on that. If you're invited to the X Games and you show up and there's a big banner that says Army, whatever, what are you going to do? You know, you could storm out and refuse to compete, but you'd probably be the only one, and I don't think it'd have any effect. So this is not a recent thing, though. I happened to be watching the '98 X Games to research another video, and that was actually sponsored by the Marines. So this is not a new thing, but I do think it kind of sucks, because if you've seen all of the ads for the tobacco industry ads, you know, where they talk about all the terrible things they've done, they always talk about how they go out of their way to advertise to at-risk people, or, you know, people with mental health issues or all that kind of stuff. And I kind of feel like skateboarders are being targeted for being on the outside a little bit. You know, like the kid who's doing really well in school and he's going to go to college and stuff, that's not the guy that they'd pick to try to recruit into the Army. They try to find someone who's more on the outside, who's, you know, maybe not doing as well, promise him that he'll get free education and all that kind of stuff. And then, you know, it kind of feels like, what are you trying to say about skateboarders? That we're the ones who you're going to target. We're the ones who you think are gonna fall for it, basically. And I don't know. I really don't like it, because I don't get how it really works. Oh, you like hurting yourself by jumping off stairs? Why don't you hurt yourself by jumping in front of a bullet in the desert somewhere? Like, it just, I don't know. I don't like it, but I don't know what you can do about it. You can refuse to watch the events that are sponsored. That's not going to do much good. You could refuse to compete in them if you were a pro, which I don't think is going to do a lot of good. You can complain a lot, which might do a little bit of good, but probably not. You know, in the end, I'd rather see a banner on the side of a contest stage or whatever that I can ignore, compared to the other option, which is being drafted, you know. So, no, it sucks, but I don't know what we do about it. Second question from Spade. Do you think that the hype around being sponsored is removing from the idea that skating is meant to be fun? I love watching pro skaters skate and I want to be sponsored, but I feel like the fun aspect of skating is not really emphasized too much. It's all about being pro and being the best. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you there. I think for probably 98% of people, being sponsored is a waste of time, because unless you're really progressing toward being pro, you're just kind of taking on an extra part-time job that you don't need. So I used to have a wheel sponsor, a clothing sponsor, and a deck sponsor. Well, the deck was like, I got a discount, so it wasn't as big of a deal. But I was always thinking about what I could do on my channel to promote these brands. So I'd have to wear the right kind of shirt, even though, you know, they didn't fit right or whatever. That's what they sent me, so I had to wear it so that it's on camera. I had to have my board facing this way so you could see the stickers on it, and I had to do all this kind of stuff to make sure that I was promoting these brands. But I got basically nothing out of it. You know, I got some free wheels. I got 1 box of free shirts. I got, I don't know, like 5 shirts or something like that. And I got a discount on boards. Like, it wasn't that much. If you count the total amount of money that I saved from having sponsors versus the amount of crap that I had to do, it didn't really balance out. You know, I remember I wanted to shoot a picture for, I don't know what it was being used for, like a profile picture on some sponsor site or something like that. And I had this desk. I thought this would be cool, and it was kind of cool, I guess. I took a desk, I put it out in the middle of a field, because I lived on an old farm, and I did like a truck stand on top of the field, you know, and trying to shoot that picture myself with like a timer and everything. Not easy. Probably took all afternoon to do that. But I had to do all this kind of stuff, and I was getting so little out of it. and always trying to think about filming and focusing on trying to get the best possible tricks on film so that you could have promotional stuff for your sponsors is just, it's not nearly as fun as just skating. And that's something I realized a few years back. I had been filming consistently all the time, and then when I stopped filming and just went out and skated, I had so much more fun. I wasn't worried about this specific spot or doing a line of all really hard tricks I could barely do. I could just do a line of basic stuff and just kind of cruise around and have fun. And I think for the vast majority of people, you're going to get a lot more enjoyment out of skateboarding doing that rather than focusing on being sponsored. And if it happens along the way, if you start to do really, really well and people take notice of you, that's a different story. But really trying to actively pursue it is probably not the best move for most people. All right, my last question for this one is from Glowcat. Do you think the rise of YouTube skateboarding channels will influence as many kids to start skateboarding as the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater series did? If not, what do you think would do so? So I don't think YouTube is ever going to get to the level of influence that the Tony Hawk games were, because there has to be crossover with people who don't skate. The reason why the Tony Hawk games did so well is because you could come into that as a gamer. You could have heard about it from kids at school who don't even skate, and then you get into it that way. But with YouTube, you're not going to run into my channel or Braille or any other YouTube channels unless you're looking for skateboarding. In my case, I have gaming videos, so you could look up a review of Tony Hawk 3 and you might find my channel and then go a little bit deeper into it. I've had some people send me messages saying that they've gotten back into skateboarding, but for the most part, no one's finding me while not looking for skateboarding. And in most of the cases, that's how it works. So with the Tony Hawk games, there was so much more going on at the time too. So the games were good. You were hearing about it in video game magazines, kids at school. You see it at Walmart. You're seeing it everywhere, but you're also seeing tech decks. You're seeing the X Games on TV. You're seeing primetime TV shows with skateboarding in it. A lot of cartoons in the 90s had a skateboarding character somewhere. There's just skateboarding everywhere. And so that's what made the Tony Hawk games have such a big effect, is because there's so much other stuff propping it up too. I think about the Skate series. Those games were amazing, and they probably inspired a lot of people to skate, but it didn't have this huge boom like the Tony Hawk games did, because that was the only thing going on. So the next big wave in skateboarding might be the Olympics. Kind of depends. We'll see how that works out. I'm not really sure. But as far as all of us YouTube guys, there is a lot more resources to get better at skateboarding quickly, because you can learn from trick tips and you can learn history stuff from me and you can learn all kinds of other stuff, but you have to be in skateboarding already to even find us. So I don't think YouTube is really going to be the answer to bringing more people into skateboarding, but I'm doing what I can. So that's it for now. If you have more questions, go to radratvideo.com and submit a question there. You can also DM me on Instagram or Twitter. Links to those in the description. But until next time, here's some more videos you might want to check out. Make sure you tap my logo on screen right here to subscribe, and that way you can keep learning new things about skateboarding 3 times a week. Thanks for watching.